I never learned how to hit a curveball. Even when I played baseball in college, I usually waited for the pitch and only hit fastballs. The difference is noticeable in the way the seams spin. I was known as a player who was good at hitting fastballs. That was the end of my professional ambitions. But I got a good education. That helped me a lot because after a couple of years of playing, I probably would have given up anyway. A good education always pays off. In my case, that's definitely true. 25 years after graduating from university and 15 years of working in my field, I got my dream job. I was a tenured professor in the engineering department at a major university in Texas, consulting on large government construction projects and heading one of NIST's manufacturing laboratories. Tessa and I bought the luxurious home in a gated community we had always dreamed of, and life was throwing fastballs right down the middle of the plate. I was hitting them one after another. Our eldest daughter, Tori, was in her senior year at the same school where I taught, studying civil engineering like her father. Life was in a stranglehold, and the lights kept going out. And then there was an unexpected twist. At first, I didn't recognize it. I didn't even realize the ball was in play. It came in the form of a call from Tori. "Dad, what's going on?" she asked. "Nothing much," I replied. "Just surfing the internet." "What's up, sweetheart?" "I stopped by the house to pick up your jack," she said. "There was a truck there. I went inside and there was Mum, watching the movers. She said she was moving out, that you were having problems and that you two needed to break up. Why didn't you tell me?" I was numb. "Haha, good job, Tori," I finally muttered. "Dad, this isn't a joke," she said. "What's going on?" "God. I have no idea," I said. "Are you sure, baby? This isn't a joke." "Dad, I'm here. I can see everything. You have to come. I don't know what's going on, and Mum won't tell me. Have you done something?" It was a damn difficult question. I had probably done a lot of things, but I had no idea what had made Tessa leave. I wasn't a perfect husband. I knew all my flaws, but she wasn't a perfect wife either. Nobody's perfect. I definitely wasn't a cheater. I wasn't a criminal. I didn't weigh 130 kilograms, and as far as I knew, I didn't have terrible body odor. I arranged for my assistants to take over my classes and rushed home as fast as I could. The truck was parked in the driveway, just as Tori had said. She met me on the street. "She won't tell me anything," she said. "You really don't know anything?" "No, dear, I don't think so. She hasn't said a word to me about any problems." "Well, Dad, if you haven't been cheating on her, insulting her or saying nasty things to her, I'll cover for you, okay?" "I swear I haven't done anything even remotely like that," I told her. I sighed. "Let's go see if she wants to talk. Are you sure you want to stay?" "Of course," she replied. "Dad, I'm going to record this on my phone. Talitha will want to know what happened." Talitha is her younger sister and our baby. I quickly hugged Tori, and we headed off to meet the lion, so to speak. Tessa was sitting in the living room watching the movers load the awful living room set she couldn't live without. "Tessa, what are you doing?" I asked. "I'm leaving you, ducks," she said. "I don't want to argue with you about this. You won't change my mind. You'll just make me angry, and I'll get angry and get nothing done." "Well, that's a nice speech, Mum," Tori said. "I hate to tell you this, but I'm already angry." "No, I guess I don't want to tell you that. If you don't want to completely lose me, try to make us both understand what the hell you're doing to yourself." Damn, she was furious. Tori was the sweetest girl on the planet, but as I had learned over the years, she could get really angry if she felt she had been treated unfairly. She almost never swore. I could see that Tessa was thinking the same thing. She gave the porters a couple of instructions and took Tori by the hand. "Let's go out on the deck," she said. Tori pulled his arm away, but we followed Tessa out onto the deck. She closed the sliding door and seemed to gather her thoughts. "I met someone," she finally said. "You don't know him. He moved here from New Mexico about 6 months ago and works in real estate. I'm going to be with him. I can't just cheat, so I'm leaving. I've already filed for divorce, Dax." "This is news to me," I said. "You couldn't have just cheated, could you? You met, it was like yesterday, fell in love at first sight, and knew right away you were meant to be together, right?" Tori snorted. "Right. That's how it always happens. Mum, do you think we're idiots?" "I don't think—" You interrupted her. "You're a real estate agent, Mum. You don't need to keep track of time. How many bad dates, dinners, and movie nights with Romeo have you had?" "That's not—" My turn. "Yes, it is. You can't just decide to leave your husband and start dating your soulmate. How do you know that's your destiny?" Fine, whatever, she said. You can make it cheap if you want. You don't have to make anything, Tori said. It's cheap enough as it is. I understand that you're stabbing Dad in the back, and that's between you and him. But how do you see a future with me? Or with Talita, for that matter? I love you both, dear. That won't change, Tessa hastened to assure her. I still love you, Dax. It's just… She couldn't finish. So you're saying you have feelings for me, Tori said. And how do you expect me to feel about you? How do you think Talita will treat me? I know you're upset, Tessa began. You have to accept that nothing will change in our relationship, Tori. You'll love Charles when you get to know him better. I'm not going to get to know him better, Tori hissed. I don't want anything to do with some jerk who hits on a married woman. I'm going to tell Talita about this. Something has already changed in our relationship. I've lost all respect for you. I'll be seeing very little of you from now on. If you ever bring that piece of shit to me, I'll spit on him. Tori, I know… You don't know shit, Tori hissed. I've never been so disappointed in anyone in my life. You ruined everything. God, I hate you, Mum. Tessa looked at me helplessly. Dax? Don't look at me, I told her. This is on your conscience. I think she was beginning to realize the gravity of her actions as she shifted her gaze from one of us to the other. Tori clung to my arm. Let's go, Dad. I don't want to be around Skunkstein. Let's go find Talita. Tessa screamed in horror when she heard her daughter call her that, but I was already being pulled onto the deck by my very angry daughter. She practically dragged me into the car and sat me down, even opening the door for me. I felt like I was in slow motion. It was a shock. I must have been an ignorant idiot. Tori got into the car, started the engine, and looked at me. Dad, everything will be fine, she said. I know you're confused right now, but in the near future, I'm going to make it my goal in life to make sure that the person I love more than anything in the world gets through this and is happy. Now buckle up, it's the law. I buckled up and I felt better. Tori always drove like a maniac, and now she was adding venom. When she got her bachelor's degree, we asked her what she wanted as a present. She wanted a car, and a specific one. A 2017 Audi R8 V10 Plus Spider. We could afford it, and she deserved it. She had worked hard, graduated second in her class, and been accepted into graduate school, and we were very proud of her. As always when I drove with her, I held on to everything I could. God, baby, I complained, you're going to kill me, and you won't have to worry about that predictable future. She laughed, as she always did, and didn't slow down. It was about 10 miles to the flat she shared with Talita, and I know we got there in less than 10 minutes. The girls were complete opposites, not in appearance, in that respect they were almost twins, but in character. It always amazed me that two children of the same parents raised in the same house could be so different. Tori was energetic, always on the go, always talking and just bursting with energy. Talitha was quiet, loving, very affectionate. And the only time you could see the same energy in her that you saw in Tori was during sports. She played softball and was a real dynamo on the field. Talitha was at home, squealing when she saw me, sliding onto the sofa and patting it for me to sit next to her. Hi, Dad. What are you doing? She hugged me and snuggled up to my side, and Tori took the same position on the other side. Hi, sweetie. It's been a hell of a day. Oh? Her huge blue eyes looked at me. How are you? You won't believe it, Tori said. I'm sorry, sis, but you know how I took Dad's Jack away from him? Talitha nodded. When I got home, Mum was there, and there was a truck loaded with stuff in the driveway. She said she was leaving Dad and moving out. What? Talitha was stunned. It was obvious. You're joking, right? I pulled her close. I'm afraid not, sweetie. What did you do? She asked. My feelings were a little hurt. Tori had asked me the same thing. Why did they think I had done something? He didn't do anything, Tori was quick to say. It's all Mum. She met someone, some Charles, who she knows will love. What? How? Are you sure? You could be wrong, Tori interrupted her. I knew you'd say that. I recorded it. She took out her phone and played the recording for Talita. And again, the reaction was completely opposite. Talita started crying and, without waiting for the drama to end, burst into tears. Tori came over to us, and we made Talita a sandwich, hugging and stroking her while she cried her heart out. I felt tears running down my cheeks, and Tori was wiping her eyes too. What are you going to do, Dad? Talita finally asked. I don't know, I replied. What can I do? She's leaving. I can't make her stay. I'm not sure I want to, even if I could at this point. Talita, what are you going to do? Tori asked. I'm going to talk to Mum, she replied. I know you heard it from her. I need to hear it myself. I know the recording doesn't lie. It's just, I, if she tells me the same thing she told you, I'll be really angry with her. I'm already angry. And I'll be incredibly sad. I know, sweetie. I'm still in shock. I'm not, Tori said. Dad, you need to talk to a lawyer to protect yourself. God, Tori, listen to yourself, Talitha said. Protect yourself? We're talking about your mum. So Mum, the woman we've known our whole lives, suddenly decides she needs to divorce Dad, starts a relationship with some jerk, and you don't think she's capable of all sorts of other reprehensible acts? Said Tori. I I understand what you mean, said Talitha. It's like the Twilight Zone, Tori. I know, sis, it is, but we have to deal with it. Is she still at home? Talitha asked. As far as I know, yes, I replied. But I don't know how long she'll be there. Talitha stood up. I'm going to go talk to her, she said. Will you meet me for dinner? We agreed on a place and time, and she grabbed her bag and left. Tori snuggled up to me, and I put my arm around her. We sat in silence for a few minutes, lost in our thoughts. Dad, do you know any lawyers? She asked. I snapped out of my reverie. Yes, I think I do, but I don't know any who handle cases like this. Call someone you know and trust and ask them to recommend someone, she said. I couldn't believe it had come to this. A few hours ago I was fat, stupid, and happy. Now I was talking about calling a divorce lawyer. It was the most unexpected turn of events, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I knew a lot of very influential lawyers, some of them were my university colleagues, and I even knew a few government lawyers. Tori and I discussed it and came up with a few names, and he recommended a few candidates, one in particular. Her name was Amanda Sloan. I spoke to someone at her office, arranged a meeting, and received a list of things to do and bring to the meeting. I had to go home to gather everything I would need for the meeting the next day, and Tori drove me home. She gathered her things and Talitha's and informed me that they would be staying with me for an indefinite period. I objected that there was no need, but she was adamant. I realized it was best not to argue with her, as she had already made up her mind. I needed to gather all my financial information, and she helped me. I worked with my investment accounts and gave her the login details for our bank account. Dad, you won't believe this, she said. What, dear? You have £50 in your current account and 1,000 in your money market account, she said. Is that enough to keep you above the minimum level? Yes, I think that's the minimum, I replied. But we should have much more than that. Mum must be taking some really nasty steps, she said. Will you be okay? Yes, I'll have to transfer some money, open a few different accounts, I think. I have money in a credit union that she doesn't have access to, and I'll probably use that. But it's pretty cruel, Tori. Really? I think that's illegal, Dad. I don't think it'll help her. You should ask your solicitor. We met Talita for dinner, and she was very shaken by her conversation with her mother. I should have heard it from her, she said. I'm sorry, I knew you were telling the truth, but some things you have to hear for yourself. You're not mad at me, are you? No, baby, I understand, I replied. Tori hugged her. I wouldn't have believed it either if I hadn't been there, she said. What are you going to do, Tally? Mummy wants us to date and meet Charles, she said. We're going to love him. I told her that not only would I never date Chucky Boy, but I didn't want to date her either. But she lied to you. About what? Tori asked. She lied. I made her admit it. I told her that if she lied to me, I would find out and never speak to her again. She was having fun with the boy. I'm sorry, Dad, but I don't want anything to do with her. Don't apologize to me, I said. Damn it, well, now we know. I don't want anything to do with her either. That wasn't entirely true. I was definitely not okay, and my emotions were in complete turmoil. Grief, sadness, confusion. Yes, everything. But anger prevailed. I was furious, and everything else faded into the background. I was in lawyer mode. Tori and Talitha drove me to her house and waited. Amanda Sloan was a tense and silent woman. She scared me, or would have scared me if she hadn't been on my side, which she was. In 2 days, she filed for divorce, put restrictions on our finances, and made Tessa return every penny she had taken. None of us could transfer or spend money or move property, except for normal everyday expenses. Because of this, Tessa called me. Why are you doing this, Dax? What do you mean? I asked. You, I don't want to talk on the phone, she said. I'm coming over. When she saw Tori and Talitha, she looked a little shocked. Girls, why are you here? She asked. I wanted to talk to your father alone. We live here, Talitha said. We don't want Dad to be alone, Tori told her. Don't worry, we won't stay if you're here. They grabbed their bags and left without saying a word to Tessa, who looked like she wanted to say something but changed her mind. You said you wanted to talk, I reminded her. What did you want to say? She sighed and sat down across from me at the bar. Dax, I don't want to make things any more complicated than they already are. I still love you, but I need to be with Charles. We can stay friends. We have daughters who need both their parents. I have nothing to do with your relationship with the girls, I told her. You'll have to figure that out for yourself. Be friends? I don't think so, Tessa. I don't have any friends who treat me the way you do. Hell, I don't even have enemies like you. Why did you get a court order? She asked. I just took the money to get settled and pay for the move. Well, half of it was mine, I replied. Maybe even more than half, but let's leave that in the past. You have a job, Tessa. You make good money. Yes, but besides your job, you have bills at the state credit union, she said. Yes, and you never put a penny in there, I replied. When we were together, everything was ours. Now I have to think about what's yours and what's mine. Let the court sort it out. I thought you said Chucky Boy was into rollerblading. She wrinkled her nose. Stop acting like a child, Dux. His name is Charles. You think I care what you think? I asked. I'll call him and you whatever I want. Is that all you have to say? No, that's not all. I want to talk about the girls. What did you tell them? I didn't say anything to them, I replied. Tori was here, remember? She recorded your speech and showed it to Tally. They only talked to you. You must have said something to them, she said. They wouldn't be so angry if you hadn't. Listen to yourself, I said. God, Tessa, you dropped a bomb on all of us. They're smarter than all of us. They don't need me to tell them nonsense. They can see what you've done. How long has this been going on, Tessa? Why didn't you ever tell me you were unhappy with me, with us? We could have tried to fix things. She looked a little sad. I wasn't unhappy, she said. Have you never met a man, Dux, who knew right away that he was important to you? You know that instant attraction? Like two magnets pulling each other together? Yes, I know, I told her. I met you. She couldn't look at me. Let's just forget about this, Dax. No need to fight and be angry. We can still be friends. We loved each other too long to just throw it all away. We can, I said. The problem is, I don't want to be your friend anymore, Tessa. In fact, I hardly want to see you anymore. This is a big city. After the divorce, I'm not likely to have any reason to talk to you. That's not true, she said. The girls will have their lives. Graduation, games, Talita's wedding. Life goes on, Dax. I guess so, I said. I'll do what I have to do. I'm still the same, she said. You loved me. No, I didn't, I replied. At least if I did, I never really knew you. It's over between us. Go. No, I'll go. Close the door behind you. I grabbed my keys and jumped into my SUV. I drove to the river, parked, got out of the car, and leaned against the bonnet, trying to calm down and collect my thoughts. I stood there for about half an hour, and then a voice snapped me out of my reverie. Hi, Daddy. It was Talitha. Hi, sweetheart. How did you find me? Yes, we all have a family location feature on our phones, she said. You insisted on it, remember? I laughed. Yes, I did. Now I remember. I don't think I've used that feature since you turned 18. She snuggled up to me, took my hand and put it on her shoulder, her small, warm body pressed against mine, and I felt comfortable. It's beautiful here, isn't it? She said. I like just looking at the river, listening to the ducks. Yes, I said. I don't want to ruin your feelings, but what did your mom say? She asked. I sighed. She just wanted to know why I was making her give the money back. She wants us to be friends. I told her we're not really friends, but she said that when it comes to you and Tori, we need to stick together, so I'd better get used to it. She was silent for a moment. I don't think you need to worry about that, she finally said. Tori and I have talked about it a lot. Neither of us is going to invite her to our meetings, Dad. I squeezed her hand lightly. Are you sure, sweetheart? She nodded, her hair falling across her face. Yes, I'm sure. It's not that we miss her or want her to be different, but I don't want to go through that, Dad. Yes, I understand. Let's call Tori and see if she wants to come with us to the Mexican restaurant, I said. She agreed, but Tori couldn't make it. She had a project at university, so it was just me and my little girl. It was all pretty predictable. Everyone knows people who have gotten divorced, even if they haven't experienced it themselves. We had heard the stories, even if we never thought it would happen to us. There were a lot of meetings and conversations, and in the end, we worked out all the details and the divorce went through. The girls lived with me for 2 weeks, after which I insisted that they return to their flat. They were both strongly opposed, but I needed them to get their lives in order and get back on track. Listen, I told them. I would be happy if you both lived here for the rest of my life. I never wanted you to leave, but you did. I understood why, and I still do. A lot has changed for me, but not for you. You have your own lives. I hope there will always be a place for me in them, but I want you both to be yourselves. Do you understand? Yes, Dad, said Talitha. We don't want you to be alone. Well, then call me. Come over anytime. Tell me what you want for dinner and invite me over. Do what you've always done. They sniffed a little, and I hugged them tightly. I understand, Dad, Tori said. I know you're right. They continued to tell me about their lives, and on the day the divorce was finalized, they came back and stayed with me for another week. I had no idea what was going on between them and their mother, and they never mentioned her. I continued my studies, wrote a few more essays, and took some extra courses. I missed being married, missing having someone to snuggle up to at night, someone to take care of, someone to do little things for. When I woke up in the night to roll over and hug my wife, the empty bed usually brought me back to reality, and I was overcome with longing. Gradually, I began to feel better. A year passed before I realized it, then 2 more. Tori earned her master's degree and was working on her dissertation. Talitha earned her bachelor's degree and took a break from school. She got a job at a mortgage company and seemed to be thriving. Tessa interfered in our lives from time to time. She showed up at Talitha's graduation and made a scene. She heard the girls talking about our plans to celebrate and insisted on coming with us. Mum, are you sure we shouldn't hurry back to Chucky Boy? Tori asked. She frowned and looked like a storm cloud. Charles and I are no longer together, she announced. Oh, I'm sorry, Talitha said. When did that happen? If you had talked to me, you would know that it was a year and a half ago. Well, we were busy, Tori said. It was better than most comedy shows. I snorted and Tessa shot me a dirty look. We all got into our cars and drove to the barbecue, where we agreed to have dinner. We managed to get an extra chair for Tessa, but the girls made it clear they didn't want her to sit on it. She didn't stay after dinner, and I flew to Tarava the next day to discuss plans for the resort. I was a consultant on the project and decided to participate as a shareholder. It was a beautiful place, with a beautiful ocean and excellent beaches, and I decided that I would spend a lot of time there. I went to a few clubs, met a few people, danced with a few nice ladies, got lucky twice, and returned home feeling refreshed. I decided it was time to come out of my shell and start living again. The idea of returning to California for a holiday came to mind. I was born and raised there, and I wanted to wander around old places, see how everything had changed, maybe meet some of my school friends and find out how their lives had turned out. I invited some girls, but they were too busy and couldn't find the time. We had a motorhome, so I decided to take it. We hooked up a little Wrangler to it so we could drive around the area. I fixed everything up, stocked up on supplies, and hit the road. It was a lot of fun. I stayed at campsites, went to all kinds of events, met a lot of people, mostly guys who were doing the same thing. Being alone was boring, but it was what it was. Because of the move, the trip took 3 weeks, but I found a place to live, unhitched the Wrangler, and was ready to see the sights. I spent 3 days driving around Ventura, Santa Barbara, and Ojai. Everything had changed, but not so much that I couldn't find my bearings. I was sitting outside Coffee Connection on Roblar in Ojai, looking through the newspaper, when I noticed a bit of a commotion. Some Karens were trying to enter without masks. Yes, they were annoying, but I figured after 2 bloody years, everyone knew the drill. Several people waited to enter, but the Karens wouldn't budge. One woman waved her hand in disgust and walked over to the tables. She sat down and took out her mobile phone. I guessed she was waiting for the commotion to die down. She looked very familiar to me. I knew I had seen her before, but I couldn't remember where. It wasn't until Karen finally left and the woman entered the cafe for a coffee that I realized. It was her gait that gave her away. Jacinta de Leon, I remembered. How could I have forgotten? She moved to Ojai when I was in third grade. I wasn't particularly interested in girls, of course, but she sat down at the desk in the row in front of me and caught my eye as she returned to her seat. I'll never forget those eyes, bright, huge, hazel, a dark brown, almost black. She smiled at me and her white teeth lit up her face. I changed. My perception of girls was turned upside down and she became magical to me. She sent me a note when we were working on an assignment. It just said hi and her name. I wrote mine on another piece of paper, but I wanted to keep the one she gave me. It was recess, and I was drawn to her like a magnet. I had a soccer, and we played on the playground. She was much better at soccer than I was, and that never changed. She was the most athletic girl I had ever met, played soccer for the entire school, and I was fascinated. It turned out that she lived only 3 blocks away from me, and my house was behind hers. We walked home together every day, and she became my best friend. Throughout middle school, we sat together in the cafeteria, tried to coordinate our schedules as much as the school would allow, and by the time we got to high school, I was madly in love with Jacinta de Leon. Unfortunately, she didn't feel the same way about me. I was her best friend and had grown very attached to her. I suffered in silence, too shy and afraid of ruining our friendship to express the feelings I had always kept to myself. I gritted my teeth when her boyfriend joined us for lunch, watched her dance with everyone at school, and she always made sure I danced with 1 or 2 girls too. One day we were sitting in my room playing cribbage, and she asked me, "Dax, why don't you have a girlfriend?" I couldn't answer that question because I couldn't tell her that the girl I wanted didn't seem to notice me, so I just stammered, feeling terribly embarrassed. "I'll help you," she announced. "What? How? What do you mean?" I blurted out. "Wait, you'll see." She was mysterious, but soon everything became clear. Soon a group of her friends appeared on the scene. She had beautiful friends. We remained best friends until she moved to Los Angeles and I moved to Texas. I didn't see or hear from her for several years. Then she showed up and the years had been kind to her. That sultry, passionate girl had turned into a sultry, passionate woman, but she still had a certain lightness about her. Looking at her, you could tell she was busy with her own life. She was elegantly dressed in a beige, form-fitting one-shoulder dress that was clearly silk and very stylish. Black, low-heeled shoes accentuated her gorgeous legs, which were 3 inches above her knees. I watched her scroll through her phone, sipping her coffee, and suddenly she stopped. It was as if she sensed me looking at her. I quickly looked down at my iPad so she wouldn't think some creepy stalker was watching her. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her turn around and suddenly there was a squeal of delight. "Oh my God, Dax, is that you?" I looked up and saw her heading towards me. I got up just in time to catch her as she rushed towards me. She almost knocked me over. I remembered that this was exactly how she greeted me when we hadn't seen each other for a long time, our whole lives. "My goodness, Dax, it seems like 100 years. What are you doing here? Are you alone? Is your family with you? Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's you." The coffee she was still holding tickled my chest and distracted me from my predicament. "Sit down before you burn my stomach," I said. She laughed, sat down on the bench, pulled me towards her, pressed herself against me, and hugged me around the waist. I hugged her shoulders, and it was as if the years had melted away. Dax and Jacinta, best friends, just like back then in 5th grade when we sat on the bench in the cafeteria. "Why are you here?" she asked again. "How long have you been here? Are you staying long?" "Give me a word, Jacinta," I laughed. "You never let me speak," she giggled. "Okay, I'll just sit here while you tell me." "I have a van," I told her. "I'm going on a road trip and just wanted to see the area. I've been here for 3 days and don't have any plans. Why are you here? As far as I know, you were in Los Angeles." A shadow crossed her face, then disappeared. "I moved here 3 years ago," she said. "I have a real estate agency here and business is going very well. Are you going to stay long? I'd love to chat with you. What are you doing tonight?" She hadn't changed a bit. She made me smile. "No plans," I replied. "Every morning I wake up and decide what I'm going to do that day." "Dax, I know you're married with children," she said. "Is your wife with you?" This time I hesitated a little. "I'm divorced, Peach. It's a long, boring, and painful story." "I don't have time for long, boring, painful stories right now." She gave me one of her dazzling smiles. God, she was gorgeous. "You're taking me out to dinner tonight," she said. I have a fashion show in 20 minutes. Give me your number. I did, and she texted me right away. Put me in your contacts, she said. I'll text you the time and the address. Do you only have a van? No, I have a Jeep that I tow, I replied. Okay, you can come, she said. I have to run, Dax. God, it's so good to see you. I can't wait for tonight. Wear a shirt with a collar. She always stirred up a storm of emotions in me, and that hadn't changed a bit. I wandered around the shop and remembered something. Jacinta loved turquoise. She had collected them for as long as I had known her. I wondered if she still loved them. I remembered this as I passed a shop selling handmade turquoise and silver jewelry. I went inside and made a purchase. The woman who made the jewelry was very talented. I found a heavy silver bracelet with a large stone and a delicate anklet with stones that matched it. I picked them up and asked her to wrap them for me. I hoped that Jacinta still collected jewelry like this. I returned to the car park, used the facilities, put on black trousers and a pink button-down shirt, sprayed myself with cologne, and felt ready as ever. She had sent me her address, and I took out my iPad to see how to get there. When I got there, I was blown away. It was the old part of Ojai, and it was in a great location. There were gardens, black wrought iron fences, a gate, a guest house above the garage, and the house itself was worth millions. It was old, stuccoed, 3 stories high, and I felt intimidated. I parked on the street, honked at the gate, and was let in. I walked past fountains, a riot of flowers, a large pond with koi carp, and approached the front door. In front of the garage, I saw a green Jaguar E-Type from the late 60s. Mature avocado trees grew everywhere, and it was a damn beautiful place. I was amazed at how well this real estate agent was doing. The doorbell rang with an impressively deep and ringing ding-dong. And when she opened the door, I froze. She saw the look on my face and giggled. "Can I come in?" she asked. I managed to pull myself together enough to reply, "Don't flatter yourself, Jacinta. You know how you look. You're still the most beautiful woman I've ever seen." It was the right answer. She threw herself at me and hugged me tightly for a long minute. "God, it's so good to see you, Dax. I missed you so much." "Hey, I brought you something," I said. She peered into the gift bag, rummaged around in the fabric, and pulled out a box. When she opened it, she let out a cry of delight. "I can't believe you remembered." "Let me get the bag," she said. I booked us a room at the boathouse in Hendry Beach. She went inside and I looked around. In the hallway was a spiral staircase resembling marble, which led to all 3 floors. Between 2 windows stood a tall, antique clock, and from the ceiling hung a huge chandelier decorated with gold leaf. Everything looked luxurious. A few seconds later, she returned, took my hand, and we walked toward the gate. "Are you sure you want to take my Jeep?" I asked. She laughed. "What, you think I'm too pretty to drive a Jeep? I'm still the same old me, Dux." I couldn't help but smile. "Well, you look too well dressed for a Jeep. And damn it, Jacinta, judging by the look of this place, you're pretty well off." She looked at me and giggled, her face lighting up and her white teeth flashing. "I'm pretty well off, aren't I?" "Yes. What do you do, girl?" We got into the Jeep and she entered the route on her phone. "Well, I'm finalizing a real estate development deal on Lake Casitas," she said. "As soon as I get the permit from the city, I'm going to make a ton of money. Real estate here is crazy, Dax." "I can imagine," I said. "Tell me about your life." "Well, it's like a big book," she replied. "Damn, how much time has passed? Let's see. I moved to West Covina, became an agent at a big firm, and worked my ass off. I made a ton of money, got really lucky, and started my own agency." She hesitated. "We won't have enough time to tell you everything before we get to the restaurant. Tell me about yourself. I know you have kids." "Yes, I do," I replied. I asked her to open my iPad, unlocked it with my face, and she scrolled through my photo albums. "My God, you have beautiful daughters," she said. "Is that your wife?" "My ex-wife," I replied. "We got divorced almost 3 years ago." "I didn't know. I'm sorry if that's a sensitive question." I shrugged. "Yes, it's painful, but you can't run away and be sad forever. I'm fine, really, and I don't mind talking about it. Are you married, Jacinta? I noticed you don't have a ring." "No, that's the only mistake I've ever made. I was in a long relationship, but we never got married. I'm like you, but it's been 4 years now, and I can't say I like talking about it." "Are you close with your friends?" "Very. I replied. I invited them to come on the trip with me, and they wanted to, but they're too busy. I think they'll fly out and meet me somewhere as soon as they can, stay with my father for a few days, and then come back. She smiled at me, dazzling me again. That's so sweet, she said. Do you have any children? I asked. No, just me, she replied. I always thought I'd be a bad mother. My mom is wonderful, but she set the bar too high. I could never be like her. We arrived, and she took my hand as we went inside. After our food arrived, she started chatting with me like she always did when we were kids. The guy I was dating was a real estate agent at another firm, she said. We talked about him moving in with me, but one thing led to another and we never did. And then she looked at me seriously. I don't like to talk about it. I reached across the table and squeezed her hand. It's okay, Jacinta, you don't have to tell me. No, I have to, she said. I was working with him on a big development project and found out he was cheating on me. He got carried away and bought a large piece of land and didn't do his job. Oh, that's not good, I said. It's bad. Right in the middle of the plot we wanted to buy was a 200-acre piece of land owned by the city. They sold it to him, but it was a gift from the heirs that had been passed on to the city on the condition that it couldn't be built on for 50 years. It had to remain in its natural state. So he ended up with millions invested in something he couldn't sell and couldn't build on. What happened? I asked. He tried to talk me into buying the property, telling me a bunch of lies about how he was going to get around the problem. But nothing worked. He made some shady deals, tried to bribe people, got caught, and went to prison. Luckily, I always felt that something was wrong, so I didn't pay any attention to it until everything blew up. And what did you do? I asked. After Bob went to prison, I sold my agency and came back home, she said. It was the best decision of my life, and look, you're here. Definitely the best decision of my life. I was shocked to see you, I told her. She smiled. Me too. Are you excited? God, yes, Peach, it was such a surprise. I didn't know you were back. I was just going to wander around the neighborhood, remember old places and old times, and then head to the coast. How long are you going to be here? She asked. Well, I don't have anywhere to live until the autumn term starts, I replied. But even then, all my classes will be online, and I have one engineering consulting job in December. Dax, if I cancel all but the most important meetings, can we hang out together? She asked. Her pretty face blushed slightly. I mean, if you don't want to, if you have plans. I have plans, I said. And she looked down. And they'll all be better if I do them with you. Her eyes lit up. Really? I mean, yes, let's do everything you have planned. She was so excited that I couldn't help but laugh. You haven't changed a bit, Jacinta. Oh, but I have, she said. I've gotten smarter. She lowered her voice to a husky whisper. And I still have hair growing in strange places. I laughed out loud. After that, we attracted the attention of other diners with our antics. It was so much fun to spend time with this amazing woman. She was funny and incredibly intelligent. When I walked her to the door, she chattered non-stop, making plans for when and where we could go together. At the door, she hugged me, held me tight, and left. I swear the next 2 weeks were the best of my life. I only ever had that kind of fun with my girlfriends. Jacinta was like a breath of fresh air. I hadn't noticed how routine my life with Tessa had become. I had become comfortable, relaxed, and probably a little complacent. Maybe it seemed that way to her, but for me everything was new and exciting. It wasn't entirely new. It was like when I was a kid walking home from school with my best friend, who turned out to be a beautiful girl I loved, and life was bright and new every day. I wondered how long it would last, whether the new spark would fade, and everything would become ordinary again. I started to notice some things. I've never been the most sensitive guy in the world and probably didn't notice much, but this was special. I started to notice that Jacinta was looking at me. Her huge brown eyes with golden and green sparkles that turned honey-colored in the sun looked at me in a way I had never seen before. The 2 weeks I promised to stay turned into 3, and I had no intention of leaving. Jacinta never mentioned my 2 weeks, but she didn't mention my departure either. We were together almost every day, and she always made sure we were together before driving me or her anywhere. And only when almost 2 months had passed, we spent the whole day visiting antique shops. And she invited me in when I gave her a lift. She surprised me. We sat huddled together on our sofa watching an old kung fu series that neither of us was interested in, drinking very good single malt whiskey. And then I noticed that she hadn't said anything or responded to me for a minute. I turned to see if everything was okay and saw that she was looking at me with teary eyes. I hugged her and asked, "Is something wrong, Peaches?" "No. Yes, maybe," she replied. I laughed. "Well, that clears everything up. Ducks, I need to tell you something. Ask you something." She hesitated, took a deep breath, and exhaled with a sigh. "Ducks, we haven't talked in a long time. I think you stayed only for me, right?" "Yes," I replied. "Why?" "That's what I want to know. Is there something between us, Ducks? I mean, we're just old friends, and you're just spending time with a friend?" "Well, that's how it started," I began. "What do you think is going on?" "It's more than friendship to me, Dax. I remember all the good times, how much I loved you, and you're still the guy I loved back then, only more. Why didn't you ever ask me out, Dax?" "God, Jacinta, you were my best friend. I wanted to ask you out, believe me, but I was afraid it would be weird, especially if you didn't want to date me and I lost you. I couldn't risk it." "It wouldn't have been weird," she said. "I wanted you to ask me out, Ducks. I tried everything I could to get your attention. But you never noticed me. I would have asked you out myself, but I was afraid too." "Really?" I asked. "Yes," she whispered. "I loved you with all my heart, Ducks. I just finally accepted that we weren't meant to be together. That you loved me. But not like that." "My God, Peach, you couldn't be more wrong," I said. "I guess I was just as clueless. You were the girl of my dreams. I walked around in a daze, dreaming that you were mine." "Do you still dream about it?" she asked. "You mean, we laughed together. If you're just leaving and we're never going to see each other again, I think you'd better leave now, Dax. You're making me fall in love with you all over again. And if you're not going to invest in me here, I can't be this close to you anymore." "How long can you stay here, Dax?" "Indefinitely," I replied. "I mean, I can stay, really. I have a job I have to quit in December. I have a home. I love my girls, Jacinta, and they're a huge part of my life." "I know," she whispered. "We'll make it work if we try, Dax. Let's just leave it as it is. Right now, I want something different." "What?" I asked. She led me into the bedroom and we did it. I remembered what I was like at 20. It felt like I had been transported back in time and Jacinta was the time machine. The online classes started and I spent some time teaching, but most of the time we were together. The weeks passed and before I knew it, 4 months had gone by. Tori and Talita kept asking me when I was coming home, and I think they realized something was wrong. They asked me what I was doing in California for so long, and although I wasn't trying to hide anything from them, I wanted to tell them about Jacinta face to face. But it was done for me when one day during class, I received a notification on my phone. It was a message from Talitha. "Dad, I'm coming to see you for a week. I'm flying to Los Angeles on Wednesday at 1 o'clock p.m. Will you pick me up?" "Of course, sweetheart. I can't wait," I replied. I couldn't just rush to her when she arrived, so I talked to Jacinta. "Kids, Talita is coming to stay with us for a week." We were sitting in the van, huddled together on the sofa. "Oh no," she said. "Dax, you have to tell them. I'm not going to hide for a whole week. I can't go a whole week without seeing you, and besides, I want to meet them. I know how much you love them. They sound like girls I would really like, and I can't wait to meet them." I hugged her. "I know. I want you to meet them, too. I was just waiting for the right moment to talk to them. I was thinking of flying home for the weekend to talk to them. Now that's not going to work, so I thought I'd invite them on Zoom, so we could get to know each other a little. Is that okay with you?" "Yes, when do you want to do it?" "I'll get in touch with them and arrange a time," I replied. "I'm thinking Monday evening. Do you have any plans?" I managed to persuade the girls to talk to me on Zoom, even though they were very skeptical about why I wanted to do it and asked me not to tell them until the last minute. I connected them, they chatted with me for a while, and finally I plucked up the courage. "I know I've been really cryptic," I said. "I've been planning to come back and talk to you. You were flirting with me, and I was pushing you away." Dad, you're not as smart as you think you are, and we're not as stupid as you think we are," Tori said. "Yeah, we're stupid," Talitha chimed in. "You met someone, didn't you?" I heard Jacinta giggle in the kitchen. "Yes, and I think you'll like him," I said. The look on their faces was priceless. They froze and sat there in shock for a minute. Jacinta grimaced, then Talita said, "Nah. Well done, Daddy, well done." "Talita, come out, don't think you can fool us." I struggled to contain my immense satisfaction at having silenced them for the first time in my life. Actually, that's why I wanted to see you, I said. Girls, I want you to meet someone. Be nice, okay? Don't show her what bitches you really are. There was a double snort of derision. We're waiting, Talitha said. I called Jacinta and she came in and sat on my lap. Girls, this is Jacinta de Leon, I said. I pointed to them in turn. This is my older daughter, Tori, and my little one, Talitha. Jacinta waved. Hello, ladies. Jacinta was my best friend in high school, I told them. We kind of reconnected. I'll tell you the whole story, but she's the reason I've been here so long and will probably be here for a long time. Best friend, huh? Are you crazy, Dad? God, Jacinta, you're so beautiful. Too much information, she laughed. I can't believe you said that, Jacinta. We're going to love you, that's for sure. You're just beautiful, like Tori said. You know we're Dad's guardians, right? Jacinta nodded. I'd think less of you if you weren't. I love him, girls. I think I always have, but I let him walk away once. It was partly his fault, but I'm going to do everything I can to make him part of my life. But I don't want you to think I'm taking him away from you. Well, I don't like that he's always in bloody California, said Tori. We need to see him too, Jacinta. I know, and we'll figure something out. I understand, believe me, said Jacinta. There are things I'm not ready to talk about yet, even with Dax. I'm so glad Talitha is coming. I can't wait to see her and you, Tori. Do you think you can come? I can, Tori said. I'll take the weekend off. I don't want to take your father away from you or take away any part of his life, said Jacinta. I want to be part of his life and part of yours. I want to love you and be loved by you. Her eyes filled with tears, and the girls realized she was starting to get upset. Oh, it'll be fine, Jacinta, said Talitha. We'll work it out. Tori and I know a thing or two about working things out. I laughed. They're not lying, I said to Jacinta. They're crafty little creatures, but my heart belongs to them forever, and they're saving it. I believe you, especially about the demons. The girls giggled and drew Jacinta into the conversation, asking her a million questions, telling awkward jokes about me, and so the entire 40-minute session passed. When we were done, I leaned back in my chair and simply held Jacinta close. Well, that's my little girls, I said. What do you think? They're adorable, she said. I love them already. They're wonderful. They have your sarcastic sense of humor only from a female perspective. I pretended to be surprised. Don't look at me like that, she said. You know what you're like. When Talitha arrived, Jacinta decided that I should take her out myself to establish a relationship between father and daughter, so I picked her up and took her to In-N-Out in Hollywood. When she came out of the gate, I caught my breath. I had forgotten how beautiful my girl was. She ran up to me, threw her arms around me, and almost knocked me over. She was strong. She hugged me and pulled me along behind her to get her luggage. Walking beside her, I realized how much she had grown. It seemed like just yesterday she was a little girl, and now she had grown into a stunning woman. How did that happen? Tori was usually a little quieter than she was with other people, but she was never like that with me. She chatted with me the whole way while we ate hamburgers and rode in the Jeep. She wanted to tell me a million things and asked me a million questions. When we got into the van, she still wasn't tired. She teased me for not letting her have the bedroom, but when I showed her how the table pulled out into a second bed, she was thrilled. We just chatted for a couple of hours, and then I told her that Jacinta had invited us over for dinner. She was very excited, sent me out to take a shower and get changed in private. And when she called me back, everything was ready. I changed, took advantage of the camping facilities, and we got into the Jeep. Talitha couldn't stop talking about the scenery and the areas we were driving through, and the closer we got to Jacinta's house, the more impressed she was. I drove up to the gate and entered the code. When we pulled up to the house, Talitha looked at me with wide eyes. Dad, your girlfriend lives here? You're much more successful with women than I thought. I laughed. She's a big-time real estate developer. You'd never guess that from school. She's Latin American, if you haven't noticed, and her parents came here from Honduras about 5 years before she was born. Her father worked on an almond farm and then became the owner, and her mother ran a small farm growing tamales when we were kids. She did everything herself. Wow, Talitha was impressed. We parked and went inside. Jacinta was in the kitchen, and as soon as we walked in, she and Talitha froze for a second, staring at each other. I was stunned. but they both broke into wide smiles and rushed to hug each other. "What are you cooking?" Talita asked. "It smells delicious." "Well, our main dish will be quite spicy," Jacinta explained. "Do you like spicy food, Talita?" "Of course," Talita replied. "Jacinta, you can call me Tally if you want. Tori always does, and Dad sometimes." "Thank you, sweetie, but I love the name Talita. I can change it, but you don't mind, do you?" Talita laughed. "Of course not. Tell me more about the spices." Jacinta came over and gave me a quick kiss, then she and Talita went over to the stove and stood side by side. Jacinta opened the oven, and a delicious aroma wafted out. "It's lamb ribs with lots of spices," she explained. "We'll remove the meat from the bones and put it on tortillas with pico, brown rice, and fried beans. Dax, go get some avocados. I haven't picked any in a couple of days, so there should be plenty." "Oh my God!" exclaimed Tally. "You went and picked avocados?" Jacinta laughed. "Yes, I have a lot of trees," she replied. "I'll go with you," said Talita. "Do you need help, Jacinta?" "No, everything's ready. I just need to peel and slice the avocados," she replied. "Go with your father, and I'll set the table." I took the basket, and Talita and I walked around the plot, picking ripe avocados. "This place is amazing," she said to me, "and Jacinta is even prettier and nicer in person. You're a good man, Dad." I laughed. "Thanks, sweetheart. I'm glad you like her. I love her, you know that." "Yes, I know," she said. "She loves you too. I can see it in the way she looks at you." Dinner was as delicious as it smelled, and sitting at the huge table with Jacinta and the two most beautiful women on the planet wasn't bad either. I offered to wash the dishes, and when I was done, Jacinta and Talita were sitting on the sofa with Jacinta's laptop, discussing something. When I entered, they closed the laptop and Jacinta patted the sofa between them, inviting me to sit down. "Oh, I see you're up to something," I said. "What?" asked Talita. "He's paranoid, Jacinta. It must be an old man thing." Jacinta giggled. "Hey, we're the same age." "Yes, but you're not paranoid," said Talita. "Neither am I said. "But I know you. You've been plotting against me your whole life." "Yes, but all my plots have been for your own good," she said. We made plans. They made plans that didn't include me, and we played a couple of games before heading back to the van. Talitha kept shooting me dirty looks until I got nervous. "What?" I asked. "I like her, Dad," she said. "You're a lucky man." "I know, right?" "Don't let her get away," she said. "It's a good thing I'm here or you'd be in trouble." Since you're here, I'd probably be in trouble, but seriously, I'm glad you're here, sweetie, and I knew you'd like her." She was lost in thought for a moment. "Dad, how do you think Mum will react?" "Well, since it's none of her business and I'm not going to see her or ask her, I don't care," I replied. "I see her from time to time," she said. "And Tori, too. What should I tell her when she asks about you?" "You think she'll ask?" She nodded. "Yes, she always does." "I had no idea," I said. "Are you lying to her?" She laughed. "No, but I don't tell her much. Almost nothing about you. I just tell her you're fine. And then I change the subject. I guess if I have to explain, I'll just say you met someone." "Do what you think is best," I told her. "I trust you." "You're smarter than me." "Yes, smarter." She giggled and smiled at me the way she did when she was a little girl and first stole my heart. We had a wonderful week, sometimes just me and my little girl, sometimes the three of us, and a few times they went out and did things without me. By the time Talitha returned to Austin, they had become close and were making plans for their next meeting. 3 weeks later, Tori flew in for the weekend, and her reaction to Jacinta was as positive as Talita's had been. Everything was going smoothly. I stayed at work until the consultation began. I talked to Tori, Talita, and Jacinta, and we decided to take time off work. Jacinta and I flew to Tarava, and the girls flew in the next evening. I worked during the day while they did tourist things, and we spent our evenings in a tropical paradise. By the time we left, I had 3 very tanned girls, and Tori and Talita had become Jacinta's best friends. I had to return to Austin to do some real work at the office. It was supposed to take about 2 weeks, and Jacinta flew in for the second weekend. The girls picked her up on Friday morning, and she spent the day with them until I left. We met for dinner, and Jacinta stayed with me. On Sunday evening, we were going to go for a walk with the girls, but unfortunately, their mother chose that day for one of her rare and unplanned visits. She knew very well that if she tried to warn them in advance, they would be busy, so she always tried to catch them off guard. When Jacinta and I arrived, She was at their flat, and the situation was awkward. Tori introduced Jacinta as Dad's girlfriend, and Tessa's shock was evident. They tried to send Tessa away, saying we were going on a date, but she wouldn't budge. "So how did you meet Dax?" she asked Jacinta. Jacinta smiled. "Oh, I sat next to him in math class," she replied. Tessa looked stunned. "You both went to that class?" she asked. I laughed. "No, we were 10 years old. You've known each other for 10 years? Tessa was puzzled. "Why have I never heard of you or met you before?" "We kind of lost touch," Jacinta replied. "We only met this year." Tori interrupted the pleasant scene. "We'd love to stay and chat, Mum, but we have plans." Tessa snorted disapprovingly, but Tori ushered her out the door. The look on her face could have curdled milk. "I'm sorry," Talitha said to Jacinta. "I know it was awkward. She arrived 5 minutes before you and didn't want to leave." Jacinta laughed. "It's okay. It had to happen sooner or later. Now that I've taken my place in your life, I'll always be there for you." Over dinner, and then at home, where the girls had invited us, we talked for a long time. I think this topic had been on all our minds for a long time, but no one wanted to discuss it. Talitha brought it up herself. I think she and Tori had conspired, and Talitha had been chosen as the spokesperson. "Dad, what are your immediate plans and long-term plans?" "What do you mean, sweetheart?" I asked. "Well, I mean, are you planning to spend the rest of your life in a van in California? Or do you have any plans?" I laughed. "No, I don't plan on living in a van for the rest of my life. Jasmine and I haven't talked about long-term plans." "Do you mind if we stay here while you think about it?" Tori asked. I looked at Jacinta. "I don't mind," she said. "I know how much your father means to you. I know how much you mean to him. You know I love him, and I'm not going to let him go." Tori nodded. "Yes, we know. We don't like that you live so far away from us," Talitha said. "Dad, I've talked to some people at work, and Jasmine and I have discussed it too. I'm going to get my real estate license, and we're going to open a real estate agency here." I looked at Jasmine. "Really? You little minx? You didn't say a word." She giggled. "Yes, Dax. I'm going to leave my business in Ojai, but Talita and I agreed that there's a huge market here, and I have an idea. Well, the girls and I came up with it together." "I'm all ears," I said. "I don't know what you want," she said, "but I want you to be with me all the time. I want you to live with me in Ojai 6 months of the year. I'll hire an office manager, and we'll spend 3 months of the year here. Toledo will handle most of the business. How does that sound?" "Yes, that sounds good, but that's only 9 months," I said. "I want to spend the other 3 months in Tarava." It was unexpected, but I had fallen in love with the place. As the owner of the resort, I could afford it, and that's what we did. It didn't quite work out that way because we were regularly interrupted by trips to Austin when we were in Ojai, and vice versa because Jacinta had to take care of things, but overall that was the schedule. We didn't let anything get in the way of our time in Tarava, and Tori and Talitha spent a lot of time with us when we were there. When you least expect it, life surprises you. We had been in Austin for 3 months when Talitha sent me a photo. "Hi, Dad, how are you?" "Studying the inspection schedule for interstate bridges in Ohio. How are you?" "Just finished studying commercial real estate," she replied. "Can you have lunch?" "Is it late? In an hour?" I asked. "Sure. Ichiyumi at 1? I'll be there." I turned on my heel, and when I walked in, the hostess showed me to our table. I was surprised to see another girl sitting next to Talitha. "Dad, this is Campbell Martin," she said. "My friend." I must have looked like an idiot. My jaw dropped, and I know I looked stunned. Campbell clearly didn't like my reaction. Her impassive face took on an extremely pronounced expression, and she grabbed her handbag. "To hell with this, Talita. Let me out of here. I need that shit," she said. "Wait, Campbell, please," Talita began. "I'm sorry, please." I had to do something, and fast. I never... My surprise made me act like an idiot, Campbell. "I'm sorry for what I did. I didn't know. Talita never told me she was a lesbian. Not once. You both just dropped a bomb on me, and now you're offended that I was caught off guard." "It's my fault," said Talita. "I'm sorry I snapped at you like that, Dad. Calm down, Campbell. Campbell is my first girlfriend. I would have told you sooner if there had been a reason." "Why didn't you tell me, Talitha? Did you really think I would love you any less? For God's sake, sweetheart, you know you're my heart and soul." She started crying just as the food was served, jumped up and ran to the bathroom. Damn it, man. Why did you say that? Campbell asked. Campbell, I don't know you, I said. I guess if you're Talita's girlfriend, I'll get to know you. But you don't know me either. Just stop fighting, arguing, and treating me like this. It's not helping. And seriously, Campbell, don't you think that if you're gay, you'd tell your parents? I don't know, she replied. I don't have parents, but you don't know either. It's not easy. I don't know what it's like with parents, but tell me, if you had a secret from someone you really loved and didn't want to hurt or disappoint, even a little, would you tell them and risk getting hurt? I don't know, I replied. I don't know what I said or did that made Tally feel she couldn't trust me, but maybe I wasn't as available as I should have been. Talitha returned and applied makeup to hide the fact that she had been crying. I took her hand and pulled her toward me as she walked by, holding her close. I love you with all my heart, I told her. You're my little doll, and nothing in the world will ever change that. Now go sit next to your friend. She walked over and sat down next to Campbell. I'm sorry, Dad, Hush, I said to her. It's over. We'll never talk about it again. Now tell me how you met Campbell. She smiled. She was a pitcher on the Florida State team. We met when we were playing in a tournament there. Love at first sight, huh? I asked. Campbell laughed. For me, yes. But she had a boyfriend, so we just stayed friends. And we were friends until I got a job and moved here. What do you do? I asked. If you don't mind. I don't mind, she replied. I'm a programmer. She looked at Talitha and rolled her eyes. He's testing me, she said. Will I pass the test? I couldn't help but laugh. You're a beautiful woman, Campbell. You don't need me to tell you that. I thought I was being subtle, but I guess you saw right through me. No, if I were your father, you wouldn't pass the test. You're beautiful, but you're too transparent. What kind of nonsense is that? Who asked you? You're lucky you're not my father. Campbell, you asked him, Talitha said. She giggled. I like the way she looks, Dad. I raised my hands in surrender. That's all that matters, I said. After such a stormy start, the conversation went quite well, and we parted on friendly terms. The next evening, Tori came over to chat with her old man and dropped a bombshell on me. I told her I had met Campbell. Tori, did you know about her? Did you know Talitha was bisexual? She sighed. Yes, Dad. I've always known. And before you start, if you tell me a secret and promise not to tell her, I won't tell on you either, okay? Yes, I understand, my love. How well do you know Campbell? Pretty well, she replied. Tally told me a lot about her in college. She was pretty shy. I know she had a steady girlfriend and got caught cheating. Talita didn't like that very much, and they didn't talk for a while. Wow, I had no idea, I said. I don't think that's good. Dad, she's a grown woman, she said. Let her live her life. I know, but if I thought you were involved with some kind of cheater… A sudden thought occurred to me. Tori, you… She laughed. No, Dad. Well, I can be a little curious in certain circumstances, but if I'm looking for a life partner, it's going to be a guy. We chatted a little longer, and then she went home. Jacinta came in, and I told her about my day. When I told her about my meeting with Campbell, she looked a little strange. Oh, God, I said, don't tell me you knew, too. She looked uncomfortable. Yes, Dux, I knew. Talitha told me she was going to meet you today and tell you everything. Why am I the last to know about important things concerning my daughter? I asked. You're a man, she said and laughed. Girls feel more comfortable talking to other women. Well, I don't know what to think about that, I said. You know she had an old friend she betrayed? Tori told me, she replied. And that doesn't bother you? Dax, they're 25 years old. How old were they when it happened? 19, 20? God, Jacinta, because she was young, cheating is okay. She looked a little annoyed. I didn't say that. Didn't you make mistakes when you were 20? Yes, a lot, I said. But cheating wasn't one of them. For a few days, the atmosphere was a little tense, and then I really came under fire. I told Talita that I was worried about her, especially about Campbell. You know how awful it was when your mom cheated, I told her. She flushed. Yes, I know. I told you that, remember? And you think that because mom's like that, Campbell will be the same? Damn it, Dad, that makes me so angry. She left and didn't respond to my photos or calls. When Jacinta came home that evening, she kissed me on both cheeks. What did you say to Talita? She asked. Did she tell you? I asked. Yes, she came to our office and cried. Damn it, Dux. Why did you open your mouth? Because I'm worried about my daughter. I was furious that Jacinta didn't seem to understand. You have a strange way of showing it, she replied. No, there's nothing strange about it. It's cruel and mean. Just because you're traumatized by what Tessa did, you have to worry so much about Campbell. She's a nice girl, Dux. She's changed. And you should give her a chance and stop interfering. What are you doing? My voice trembled with anger for the first time since we stopped at Jacinta's. You're meddling. And she's not even your daughter. She looked at me as if I had hit her. You're an idiot, she said quietly. How can you talk to me like that? She's my daughter. You should ask her. I know you have scars, Dax, but taking them out on me or Talita by saying things like that is petty and mean. She backed away, her back tense and angry. For another half hour, I heard her footsteps in the bedroom. I sat there smoking, and when she came out, she was carrying suitcases. What are you doing? I asked. I'm going to Ohio, she said. Call me when you get your head out of your ass. Her eyes were full of tears, and she could barely speak. I'm not staying here with you when you're like this. She left, and I sat there stunned. What the hell? How could things have gotten so bad? Why couldn't she see my point of view? Why couldn't Talita? I spent the rest of the day doing nothing, and I slept poorly that night. Memories of Jacinta's hurtful look haunted me in my dreams. In the morning, I woke up feeling groggy. I ate some cereal, unable to bring myself to do anything else. At 10 o'clock, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I looked out, Campbell was standing on the doorstep. Damn, she was the last person I wanted to see. I sighed and opened the door. She walked past me into the hall. We need to talk, she said. I want coffee, strong, black. I stood rooted to the spot. Dax, either you give me coffee or we're out of here, she said. I'm furious with you, but I understand you, man. So, are you going to give in or give me some coffee and talk to me? I couldn't help but laugh. This girl was crazy, stunningly beautiful in her little top and ripped jeans, and she was fierce. Coffee, I said. Just don't hit me, Campbell, she smiled. I can, you know. I'm a damn good kickboxer. For some reason, that doesn't surprise me, I said. I have some Blue Mountain coffee from Jamaica. I haven't tried it yet. Want to try some? Do you like good coffee? Yes, she replied. I do. I'd love to have a coffee grinder. You know, Dax, I've always dreamed of opening my own coffee shop, not a franchise. She sat down at the bar and talked to me while I ground the coffee and made us coffee in the Rocket R58 coffee machine, telling me about her dream coffee shop. I sat down across from her at the bar and we sipped our coffee. It was delicious, and she loved it. She put down her cup, covered her face with her hands, rested her elbows on the bar, and my God, she was gorgeous. Our faces were about a foot apart, and her huge brown eyes, so dark they seemed almost black, were fixed on mine. Dax, you're crazy, she said. I grinned. No doubt, I said. But what exactly this time? Talita is so upset with you, she said. Me too, actually. The thing is, she doesn't understand you, but I do. She understands? I asked, having no idea what exactly she understood about me. I understand, she nodded. Your wife, Talita's mother, was cheating on you. Talita told you that? I asked. She did. And did she tell you exactly what she found out and how devastated she was? Yes. She also told me how devastated you are. Okay, what are you trying to say, Campbell? You see your little girl, she's with me. And I know that Tori told you about me, about what I did. And what do you think? I suppose you think I'm going to change her, she said. You think I'm going to break her heart, and that will make you feel guilty for what your wife did to you. She seemed to have me figured out. And what are you going to do about it? I asked. I'm going to get to know you better and give you a chance to get to know me. I'll tell you about myself, about what it's like to be me. Well, that's a good start, I told her. Yeah, I'm fine. She gave me one of her dazzling smiles, her teeth incredibly white against her dark skin. Dax, I know what I look like, you know? Men used to flirt with me and then women did. I can imagine. You're a beautiful girl, Campbell. Her face brightened slightly. Thanks. I don't know how much Tally told you about women's sports in college. There are a lot of female athletes, especially in softball. I think there were about 10 girls on my team who weren't lesbians. I mean, a minority. Yeah, probably. I didn't know that, but I believe you. Well, imagine. I was in my second year of high school and I got a girlfriend. She was an athlete. We were together my whole second year. I didn't cheat on her, and as far as I know, she didn't cheat on me either. What happened? I asked. Well, I was invited to a camp. It was a very prestigious camp, Dax. Only the best players were invited. It was organized by two softball legends. It was a huge opportunity, and I took it. You played baseball in college. Talita told me. Yes, I did. But I wasn't as good at baseball as you are at softball. I know I was never as good as Talitha. Not many people play baseball, she said. But imagine, who was your favorite professional player? Probably Cal Ripken Jr. Maybe Don Mattingly, I replied. Okay, imagine they invited you to training camp. What impression would they make on you? A very strong one, I replied. They were legends. They were my heroes when I was a kid. Well, that's exactly what happened to me. But the scenario is a little different. I was 20 years old, Ducks. There were two sexy women in front of me who I had idolized my whole life. And they were teaching me, showing me so many things that made me a better player. Then I realized that they weren't just interested in me as a player. You see where I'm going with this? I think so, I said. You're going to have to use your imagination here, she said. I know you're not attracted to the baseball players you idolize, but can you imagine them as beautiful women? That's what they were to me. They took me to great restaurants, dragged me to clubs, took me to concerts. They pushed me beyond my limits. Tears glistened in her big brown eyes and rolled down her cheeks. She was breaking my heart, and I could tell how much it hurt her to tell me this. It was clear to me that she was telling me this because she loved Talita, understood how much my daughter meant to me, how much I meant to Talita, and she opened up to me, showing her vulnerability because she needed me to trust her. I had to stop this pain because I was the one causing it. I took some tissues from the box on the table, walked around her, handed her the tissues, helped her to her feet, and hugged her. At first, she was stiff as a board, and it seemed like she was just enduring it. I pulled her closer and whispered, Campbell, I'm so sorry. Please, I don't want to hear anything else. I understand everything, okay? I'm sorry I made you do this. I know how brave you are and how much it hurt you to come here and tell me about this. Please forgive me. I felt her melt into my arms, and she pressed herself against me, crying sincerely. I just held her and whispered that everything would be okay, that I would fix everything, and that I was sorry for not giving her a chance. After a while, she calmed down, and I carried her to the living room and laid her on the sofa. She snuggled up to me, and we talked for several hours. It was time for dinner, and I made her something to eat. She helped me, snuggling up to me, and despite all the differences between us, big and small, I felt like I had one of my daughters with me. We drank 2 bottles of wine, and she was one of those cheerful, giggly drunks. She stayed the night, slept in Talita's room, and in the morning she called Talita and asked her to come over for breakfast. When Talita came in, we were making pancakes, just chatting amiably about nothing, standing side by side at the stove, and Campbell put her arm around my shoulder. Talita walked through the kitchen and stood between us. What are you doing here, Campbell? She asked. She asked. What? How? Dad? She's come to enlighten your poor, foolish father, I said. Darling, I'm sorry for the way I behaved. I understand why you love Campbell, and I know how much she loves you. Will you forgive me? She snuggled up to me. I love you, Dad, and I always will, she said. It's easy to forgive you, Dad. I need to apologize to you, too. I thought you were just a jerk. We both looked at her. Well, I thought I was a jerk, and you were kind of right. Campbell helped me understand, and Jacinta, too. I know you love me and care about me. You just need to work on your communication skills. Me too. I should have told you that a long time ago, Dad, and I'm sorry I didn't and that I didn't answer your calls. I'm afraid you'll have to work with Jacinta some more. I know. I'm afraid I said some harsh things to her. I know. She told me. What? Campbell asked. She didn't tell me. I told her that Tally is my daughter, not hers, I replied. Campbell made a small sound like a cluck. I don't think Tally feels the same way Jacinta does. Technically, you're right, said Talitha, but you're terribly wrong. I'm closer to her than I ever was to my mother. I wish she were my mum, and you need to apologize to her. She said that, Campbell smirked. I hope you like the taste of crow, mate, because you're going to be eating a whole flock of them. We all laughed, finished the pancakes, and had a wonderful morning. I had a lot to do, and there was no point in wasting time. 2 days later, I flew to Los Angeles, rented a car, stopped at a flower shop, and bought all the roses they had. Jacinta wasn't home, so I let her in, spread the flowers all over the house, and knelt in the hallway when she walked in. She was a little surprised, and I managed to say, I stuck my head up my arse. I'm sorry, Peach. Please forgive me. She burst into tears, ran out of the hallway in her high heels and hugged me. She pressed her cheek against my head, and all her curls covered me like a veil. I hate being angry with you, she said. I'm sorry too, Ducks. I know you meant well, and I guess I felt like we were all ganging up on you. We need to communicate better, all of us. I swallowed my pride. We returned to Austin and took the girls to Colorado for a rafting trip. This was my family, and I decided that Campbell would be part of it too. I had a new daughter, a fierce brown cat from the jungle, but we were a family. They were with us at Tarava that evening when I proposed to Jacinta 3 years later. I let them in on my plan, and they went about their business while we had dinner. When I got down on one knee at the table before dessert, Jacinta put her hand over her mouth and burst into tears. It threw me off a little, but I pressed on. She held out her hand, and I slipped the ring on. She pulled me to my feet and threw her arms around me, still crying like a child. Peach, I hope this would make you happy, I told her, not bring you to tears of despair. She giggled softly, pressing herself against my shoulder. I'm happy, she said. I cry when I'm really happy too. It was just a little push. I felt like I had hit her on a swing. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel and watch the next video.